The buyer presentation should only take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. This is where you're going to take a buyer through the process of purchasing a home and how you do that. After that, paperwork, and then finally after that, a buyer's needs and wants analysis. So let me demonstrate. So this will be sitting on a conference room table. I will be doing the presentation either in front of them in a conference room or over Zoom. If it's on Zoom, I will introduce myself, I'll speak with them, and then I'll immediately share my screen and we'll go through the process and do the PowerPoint, just as though I were doing this to a buyer. So, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, we're buying a home. So let me thank you for coming in. Thank you for meeting with me over Zoom. And I just wanted to show you exactly how I help buyers save time and save money and get them into the home that they dream of in a very efficient, stress-free way. All right. So what I'm going to basically do is describe to you what the market is. And my whole goal is to help you understand the market. There's a difference between a salesperson versus a consultant. Well, see, a salesperson is going to sell you anything that comes along, right? It might not even match your criteria exactly, and they're really just going to put homes in front of you randomly and that type of thing. Now, a consultant, which is what I do, I basically sit down and find out your needs, your wants, your desires for a specific home. I search through thousands of homes and I find exactly what you're looking for. So in doing that, I'm doing the legwork, I'm doing the homework, so you can be focused on your family, your career, and the transition that's going to be coming up once we find you the home that you want. Now, there's a difference between also in a buyer's market and a seller's market. All right. Right now, we're in a seller's market. And keep that in mind. It means, well, exactly what it means, that sellers oftentimes have the most power in negotiating. And it can oftentimes seem like a very chaotic and fast-paced market. Now, there are certain things that I do to mitigate that, to let things fall into your favor. And we'll go over that in the future. All right. Suffice it to say, in a seller's market, there tends to be less inventory, more buyers. And in a buyer's market, well, there's less buyers and more inventory. But right now, as I said, we're in a seller's market. All right, so pre-approval for financing. Now, I know we've talked about getting pre-approved. You're in the process of getting that done. The benefits basically to you as buyers, it basically turns you into a cash buyer. It saves you money, all right? It also gives you leverage in a multiple offer situation. Now, how does it give you leverage? It's really important that you're with a very well-known and reliable lender. Now, there are some online lenders and some banks out there that are, quote unquote, well known. However, they're also well known as dropping the ball when it comes to, getting things done on time per the agreement of sale and per your purchase your purchase contract. So I'm going to advise you of several different lenders. In fact, we already talked about one. That's basically what you're going to be doing, and you really want that, because if you go into a situation where you are utilizing a bank or lender that doesn't have the reputation, and you're going up against somebody who has a lender that does have a good reputation, well, they're going to win out, right? Most importantly, this gives you confidence. Once you're pre-qualified, you'll have the confidence to move forward. Now, how do I get paid? Well, all my fees are paid by the seller. Now, here's the important part. All brokers have access to the same information, right? The biggest difference in brokers is the speed at which they get you that information. All right. Now, what I do is, depending on where you are in your purchase, in the process of purchasing, all right, and we're going to discover that today. You're looking to purchase now, 6 months from now, or even a year from now. And I have a feeling that you're looking sooner rather than later, correct? That's what I thought. So it's really crucial that you get this information as fast as possible, all right, especially in a hot market like it is right now. All right, so for sale by owners, now that's a key one, because a lot of real estate agents don't actively look up for sale by owners. I want to make sure that you don't miss any opportunities out there, all right? Because for sale by owners oftentimes will not show up in the multiple listing service. So what I suggest you do is call me first. And why? Well, for sale by owners will often pay my commission. So I can easily work on that transaction. And well, quite frankly, I've sold for sale by owners before to my clients, to buyers, and it's gone really, really well. All right. Now, the difference, between an attorney and a real estate agent. Now, obviously, we have an attorney, we have to do attorneys. Pause here, depending on what state you're in. Okay, you might have New Jersey, New York. You're required to use attorneys. Well, Pennsylvania, they're not required to use attorneys. So, and some people want to use attorneys for the entire thing. All right. So remember, we're paused here. This is not part of the role play. All right. So this what might change based off your state. So feel free to change it. I'm going to base it off of whether or not the buyer wants to use an attorney exclusively and no real estate agent. So I want to make sure I'm going to go down that road right here. All right. Back into role play. So the difference between an attorney and a real estate agent, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is that attorneys charge by the hour. I do not. I'm 100% commission based. If for some reason I'm not able to find you the home of your dreams, which quite frankly is not likely, if we don't do the deal, guess what? You don't pay anything. You don't pay me. All right. Now, if the deal doesn't get done, and let's say we do find it, and you do get an attorney, and they're working on it, and if the deal falls apart, guess what? You still pay that attorney. All right. I only get paid when the deal closes. All right. So new home builders. Now, builders do pay all of my fees as well. I'm going to give you some business cards today. In fact, obviously I'm not going to give them to you today because we're on Zoom. However, I'm going to swing by and drop them off and make sure you have some. Now, what I want you to do is if you do happen to drive by in a new construction and you go, oh, I want to go and take a look at that, make sure, all right, that you give them my business card, okay? Because the on-site salesperson is going to basically call me and not you. They're not going to pester you. And trust me, they will pester you. They'll put you on an email campaign. They're going to constantly calling, contacting you. Now, the benefit to you is obviously representation. The on-site salesperson will tell you, oftentimes will tell you, oh, we'll represent you. But here's the thing, they represent the seller. All right. Now that's a really important feature right there. Now, the average buyer looks at, I'd say anywhere from 3 to 5 in what are my averages. All right. Before finding the right one, the most important key that we have, and for you is when, to find that right home quickly is your feedback. So when I find 3 to 5 homes for you and we review them, and then you pick, hey, here's 4. I want to go see I want to go see those 4, and we go see them. I really want to make sure that you promise that you're going to give me very, very clear feedback, because most times actually people put an offer in on one of those. However, if we have to go back and modify the criteria, your feedback is going to be crucial in that. Now, what I'd like to do is go through the entire contract, the purchase contract as it is, when you find so that when you find that right home, so we can move quickly and ensure that we get the home you want. Now, if we have time today in our meeting, at the end, we can review the purchase contract so you understand exactly what you're doing when we find that right home. Now, oftentimes people go, well, I need to think about it, or they want to sit down, and then they want to understand the contract. The problem is that by the time you decide to sign the contract and put the offer in, the home's already off the market. All right. Homes are going under contract in less than a day now in this market, where we are getting upwards of 10, 15, 20, even 30 offers on a single home. All right. So it's important that we move quickly. Remember, I said I mitigate some of those things so you don't maybe end up in an auction effect with another buyer. Well, one of those is being able to move quickly. So again, I'm just going to repeat it. I want to make sure you understand the contract and the purchase contract very thoroughly. Now, this is a standard form that is approved by the Real Estate Commission in our state. All right, earnest money. Now, this is a check that you write with your offer. All right, it will be cashed when the offer is accepted. Earnest deposit money amount typically is between 3 and 5% of the total price. So you want to be able to have that cash, ready on hand. All right. Now, inspecting your new home. Inspections are, now this is an important part. So we put the offer in, it's accepted, and now you have an inspection phase. Well, inspection is for major items only, and that's important. All right. If we try to negotiate on the little tiny stuff, we're not going to have any strength when we want to go for the structural or mechanical items. All right. So again, inspections are for major items only. Now, I do have a list of inspectors that I would recommend, and but you do have to be a licensed inspector to do it. So we need somebody like that to take care of that for us. All right. Now, appraising your new home. The cost paid by the buyer is on average around $500. All right, pause here. Okay, so obviously this says 350. It's an older version. All right, so I would just adjust it to whatever the average appraisal cost is for your buyers in your area. All right, back into role play. The best part is when you have the bank sends out the appraiser. And by the way, if you're going to be paying cash, which I know you're getting your loan, but if you're paying cash, we would have an appraisal contingency in there. And the best part of having an appraisal contingency and appraisal done is that you won't overpay. Now, when do you pay? Obviously, when you submit your application to the lender. All right. All right. Now, loan approval. This means you have a full loan commitment. So you've gone through the inspection period. We've obviously applied for the loan. You paid for the appraisal. We're waiting now. We've negotiated the contract, maybe possibly renegotiated it based off the inspections, and we're just waiting for your full loan commitment. Now, once you get that full loan commitment, that is a reason to celebrate. All right. Now, closing. When closing comes in, that's basically taking title. All of your time and efforts have paid off. You want to make sure that you want to bring a cashier's check. Now, if it's over a certain amount, some title companies may require you to wire that money. And you have to be very careful with wiring instructions. Once you get those, find out how the title, well, we'll find out how the title company requires or sends out those instructions. But we want to be very, very careful. I'm putting this out there, and I guarantee you I'm going to remind you about this again. The wiring instructions, once you receive them once, they do not change. All right. If you have any question about that at all, please let me know. Please immediately right away, or contact the title company directly over the phone. The reason why is there is a lot of wire fraud going on out there where people are getting multiple wiring addresses and they're sending that money to a fictitious fraudulent account inadvertently. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen. And trust me, I'm going to be on top of that through that process with you. Now, you also want to bring your driver's license and any official photo ID. All right. Military ID, anything like that. All right. Now, when you're working with the team, you're always working with, well, a specialist. All right. The benefits to you, all right, are knowledge, availability, and communication. Pause in the role play here. This is a team. Now, I used to run a team, so that's why I have that. If you don't run a team, you can just, put, your name here. You could say, hey, you're always working with a specialist. And when you're working with me, you're working with knowledge, availability, and communication. You could even describe the team as your fellow, your productivity coach, your transaction coach, the different people within the market center, because in a way, Keller Williams, we're all partners, right? In fact, I used to have that on my business card. Realtor/partner. All right. So however you want to describe this page, you can be an individual agent. If you want to leave the team there, you could describe it as the team of Keller Williams because you have access to knowledge, availability, and communication with us as your, almost like your brain trust, right? All right. So back into role play. So moving on. All right. So most realtors, if you are describing as a team, by the way, if you're an individual agent, I wouldn't maybe use this right here. All right. This is if you were on a team, or if you're, if you were describing yourself or what you could build to. I would probably delete this slide if you're an individual agent. But if you're on a team or you're building a team, I would describe it as this. Okay, back into role play now. So most real estate agents, this is what their career looks like. This is what their day looks like. And as it goes through their day, they have more and more and more chaos and things happen. With me, most agents, like I said, that's how they treat their business. And guess what? Somewhere on the outside there is you. That's not how I treat my business. My business is very specific. I center you right in the middle, and then I have lender services, transaction coordination, title services, all of those things, and myself, and all of those things that I put around you. And in a sense, they're creating a buffer around you to make sure that the real estate transaction is as smooth and stress-free as possible for you. All right. So my goal is to get you the best price, the fewest hassles in the time frame that you desire. All right. Now, referrals, well, referrals are the lifeblood of my business. And my question to you is, who do you know from work, friends, school, church, Twitter, Facebook, the gym, family, anybody like that? Who do you know that might be looking to buy a home or sell a home in the near future? And most importantly, will you call me when you hear of somebody that's looking to buy a home or sell a home? Now, what I did is I paused there because I'm going to look at the person, whether it's on Zoom or in face to face, and I'm going to ask them that question. And then I'm going to pause and I'm going to let there be a an odd silence there for a little bit. And I'm going to wait. First person who talks loses. All right. The most people will answer. Maybe not right away, but they'll answer. All right. But you have to make sure you don't just go, oh, who do you know? Work, friends, that. Will you call me? No, you got to go, who do you know from work, school, friends, church, Facebook, Twitter, the gym, anything like that. Here's the thing, it is the lifeblood of my business, referrals. Will you call me when you bump into somebody that's looking to buy a home or sell a home in the near future? Will you call me? Ask them that straight out. So, by the way, that's it. Once they say yes, and if they're like, and here's the thing, you might say, well, JD, what if they say no? That's okay. That's okay. Perfectly. You say, okay. If they're like, or they give you like, I don't know, it's kind of odd, like, I say, well, here's the thing, Mr. and Mrs. A buyer. While I'm working on helping you find the home, if you like the way I work and I keep my word and I do what I say I'm going to do, and you get good results from working with me, will you then feel comfortable referring someone to me as a real estate agent? And if they don't say yes, there's a problem there, right? You maybe ask a little bit further, but 9 times out of 10, they'll say yes at that point. All right. And once I prove myself to you, will you feel comfortable referring someone to me? Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. And what I typically tell them is this is just a little script I add on there. Okay. And once they say yes, I do say, absolutely wonderful. You see, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my goal is not just helping you find one home. My goal is a lifelong relationship with every single one of my clients, because I said referrals are the lifeline of my business. And I want to do such a great job for you that you feel almost compelled to refer me business. In fact, I determine my success as a real estate agent on whether or not I get a referral from my clients. All right. And if I haven't gotten a good referral, or I haven't gotten a referral, I should say, if I haven't gotten a referral from my client, it means that I've dropped the ball. I've didn't do my job as well as I could have. And at the end, when we go to settlement, when you're sitting there at settlement table, and after it's all over, I'm going to ask you where I might have made a mistake and where I could do better, because that's really important to me. And as I said, I want to make sure that we do such a great job for you, that I do such a great job for you, that you feel almost compelled to refer me business in the future. Anyway, all right. So what we're going to do is now we're just going to review the paperwork, the buyer agency paperwork, and that's it. All right. So by the way, if you're in a conference room, I would just leave this laptop sit. I would leave a laptop sit there and leave this screen up all the time for the entire way, because I'd pull out the paperwork and I'd have them, it's already be printed out, all my stuff in there, their stuff in there. And all they really have to do is, sign on the dotted line, all the proper paperwork, and that's it. Okay. And then immediately after the paperwork, I would grab my clipboard and have my 4 pages of my buyer's needs and wants analysis. And that's it. And then I go through that, and then I'd be done. If we have time, by the way, this whole thing should take an hour, no more, less than an hour. In fact, if you're really, really dialing it in. And, but if you do have time within that hour, I would recommend reviewing a purchase contract. All right. And reviewing that and going through it and making sure that they understand it and answering any questions then, because when you're ready to put an offer in, they'll be comfortable just going and e-signing it. You could just, go back to your home office, the market center, and fill it out, get it ready in DocuSign and blast it out to them. They're done. They sign it. They don't have any questions, and you're good. So you don't have to take time reviewing it then. You can review it now. All right. Now, if you don't have time, give them a blank copy to take home with them. Or if they're on Zoom, email them a blank version so they have time to review it. Okay, that's it.